So Israel just carried out a massive airstrike in the Gaza Strip that they say was targeting Hamas leader Muhammed Sinwar, which, if true, would be a significant move towards the possibility of wrapping up this conflict and reaching some sort of negotiated settlement. Now, we have some footage that we're going to run through here, but what we know so far, the initial reports, is that 10 people were killed, as many as 16 were injured. Those are the preliminary reports. I would expect those numbers to both increase just based off of the blast size and the location. Now, Sinwar, if that name sounds familiar, is the younger brother of former Hamas commander Yahya Sinwar. He's the current military commander of Hamas, and it's believed that he tends to be more extreme in his views and not one to sit down and negotiate any sort of settlement with Israel. So his elimination could remove an obstacle to any sort of ceasefire deal. Now, a couple statements here, starting with those coming from Israel. The IDF says they conducted a precise strike on Hamas terrorists in a command and control center located in an underground terrorist infrastructure site beneath the European hospital in Khan Yunis in the southern portion of the Gaza Strip. The Hamas terrorist organization continues to use hospitals in the Gaza Strip for terrorist activities, demonstrating its cynical and brutal use of the civilian population in the hospital and its surroundings. Prior to and during the strike, numerous steps were taken to mitigate the risk of harming civilians and civilian infrastructure, including the use of precise munitions, aerial surveillance, and additional intelligence. The IDF will continue to operate to remove any threat to the citizens of the State of Israel. Now, I did see some notes, Israeli officials saying they were able to confirm that there were no hostages in this tunnel before carrying out the strike. I guess you just got to take their word on that one, right? You're talking about human-level intelligence down into those specific tunnels or very detailed location knowledge of where the hostages are across the entirety of the Gaza Strip. But nonetheless, Israel's saying no hostages were around for this strike. Continuing on, we do have a statement, a couple of interesting statements here, and one talking about how the strike was carried out. It's kind of unique. It wasn't just dropping bombs, but there was some strategy behind it. Starting out with a report from Manny Fabian, he says Muhammed Sinwar, a senior Hamas military commander, is the younger brother of the former leader Yahya Sinwar. Following the killing of Hamas's top military commander, Mohammed Daif, Muhammed Sinwar took charge of the terror group's military wing. Later, after his older brother was killed by IDF troops, he became the de facto leader of the terror group in the Gaza Strip. So you're talking about the top Hamas leader in all of Gaza right now. He says Israeli officials have described Sinwar as stubborn with regards to negotiations with the terror group for the release of hostages. And just yesterday, we had believed to be the last living American hostage released from Hamas captivity. Dual citizen, Israeli soldier. He's an Israeli-American citizen, was captured on October 7th during the course of those attacks. Yesterday was released back to his family. But before that, it's been quite a while since we've had any sort of hostage release exchange for Palestinian prisoners. Now, turning over to the how of this attack, some interesting notes here. This is reported by Abu Ali Express, or posted by Abu Ali Express over on Telegram, where he says military correspondent Duran Kadosh shared details information on how the attack to eliminate Muhammad Sinwar was carried out in a way that would turn the tunnel system into a death trap. He says in the attack, the Air Force used dozens of munitions, including bunker-penetrating bombs. You can see that in some of this footage. Clearly, a lot of detonations. They say the attack was carried out in a similar manner to the ones in which Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, was assassinated in Beirut, an attack on all entrances and exits at the entrances to the underground compound with the aim of preventing escape after the attack should Sinwar manage to escape. The attack method combines collapse with penetrating bombs with the aim that anyone who does not die at the beginning as a result of the impact and collapse will die later from suffocation, as it's believed that Nasrallah may have actually been killed. They say to strengthen the certainty of the elimination, the Air Force is also attacking anyone who approaches and tries to rescue casualties from the underground complex. We're seeing some reports of that already, where it seems like people are trying to get near the actual impact points, and there's bombs still going off. So it's unclear if they're doing that for this reason of trying to push. That's a risky move, right? To use bombs of any sort to get people to not come near a location is a good way to kill a lot of people unintentionally. Whether it's that or if it's continuing to strike some of these locations, maybe they see additional exits or entrances that maybe were not collapsed entirely, so they come in for a follow-up attack. Not entirely clear at this point, but nonetheless, we are starting to see more and more people approach these blast sites. It looks like rescue operations may be underway. Hamas, for their part, has been very quiet so far. We've not heard any confirmation, but clearly there's some tunnel network here that was hit. If you just look at some of the footage that's coming out of the scene. Now, unfortunately, this was not the only strike in and around the hospital complex in the last 24 to 48 hours. We also have the story here of the death of Hassan Islai. My apologies in the pronunciation. But we've got kind of mixed reports depending on who you look at here. We're going to look at statements from the IDF, from Hamas, from the Jerusalem Post, and Al Jazeera. But this is one that is driving some controversy. The IDF said a short while ago they struck significant Hamas terrorists who were operating from within a command and control center located in the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis. The compound was used by terrorists to plan and execute terrorist attacks against Israeli civilians and IDF troops. Senior Hamas officials continue to use the hospital for terrorist activity through cynical and brutal use of the civilian population in the hospital and its surroundings. Prior to the strike, numerous steps were taken to mitigate the risk of harming civilians, including the use of precise munitions, aerial surveillance, and additional intelligence. There's a different story being told by Hamas. Hamas put out their statement saying, quote, "In a new crime added to the Zionist occupation's black record, the Zionist enemy forces committed a cowardly assassination against the heroic Palestinian journalist Hassan Islai." Again, I'm certain I'm getting that last name incorrect. "By directly targeting him while receiving medical treatment in the Nasser hospital in Khan Yunis from a previous injury he had sustained as a result of a Zionist bombing that targeted journalist's tent in Khan Yunis. The cowardly assassination marks a double crime that reflects Zionist sadism and a systematic insistence on eliminating free voices and silencing the truth with no regard for any human or legal value." And that's by and large how this is being presented by Israel and by Hamas at this point. Israel is saying this is a Hamas operative that may have been doing some journalism at times, but the guy was an active member of Hamas and fought alongside Hamas. And then Hamas and a lot of pro-Palestinian outlets saying pure journalist. Like, this is just a guy reporting on events on the ground, and a lot of those events happen to be, had things to do with Hamas because they are the ones running the Gaza Strip. Jerusalem Post, for some more details here, said Hassan Islai, a Gaza journalist who documented Hamas's October 7th massacre, was killed in a Monday IDF strike on Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis, Hamas confirmed on Tuesday. In April, the IDF claimed to have killed him, saying that he was a member of Hamas's Khan Yunis brigade in a strike in that area. They say he was previously employed by both CNN and the Associated Press and owned a media company and took part in the October 7th massacre, infiltrating southern Israel and sharing footage from the massacre on social media. My understanding is he was actually sued by some of the families of the victims of October 7th because he supposedly was saying that he was there as a journalist, but there was an argument that he was watching crimes against humanity unfold and he had an obligation to stop them, but instead he was documenting them and sharing the pictures. There is some debate around that. Now, Al Jazeera takes the other side here, saying Israel's army has admitted to carrying out a targeted attack on the Nasser medical complex in the city of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, killing 2 people, including Palestinian journalist Hassan Islai. Government media officials' office confirmed the killing on Tuesday. They say he was receiving treatment at the hospital for severe injuries sustained during an October 7th Israeli strike on a media tent next to the hospital. They say he was the director of the Alam 24 news agency and a freelancer who contributed to international news organizations, including photos of the Hamas-led October 7th attack. Israel has claimed that Islai was a Hamas fighter who participated in the October 7th attack, an allegation that he denied. So that's essentially where that one sits right now. We've got pretty different accusations flowing from the two sides. From Hamas, it's the targeting of a journalist while he's in a hospital recovering from wounds already inflicted by Israel. And for Israel, it is a member of Hamas who took part in the October 7th attacks and was, if nothing else, kind of propagandizing media on behalf of Hamas. But all of that on top of the story just coming out a few hours ago that the leader of Hamas in the Gaza Strip may have just been eliminated. That's still up in the air. Certainly a significant strike, and we'll wait for more confirmation. But that's all I got for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all next time.